12 of summer, year 1. Today started like all the rest, at 6 a.m. My tomatoes are ready for picking today, as well as my hot peppers. I watered my crops and took a stroll over to the CC so I could drop off a tomato. On my way home, I stopped at the general store and bought some radish seeds. Back home, I planted them and gave them a nice helping of water. The mushrooms that are growing in the cave to the back of my house were ready to be harvested. I picked up Nugget and Barney's eggs. Silly chickens leaving them lying around. I stuffed the items I harvested and the eggs into the selling box, all but the mushrooms. I took them over to the CC. I wandered around the forest and found a few items to sell. As the day wore on, you guessed it, I did some fishing. I sold what I didn't need and went to bed. Day 13 of summer, year 1. Today it was raining at 6 a.m., so I checked the TV and went outside to find my melons are ready. I stopped to say hi to the chickens and stuff their eggs into my pockets without them seeing. I stopped off at the CC to drop off one of the melons and one of the red mushroom. I stopped by Clint's to pick up my new steel pickaxe. Thanks, buddy. While I was in the area, I stopped at the beach, picked up a few items to sell. Okay, I picked up a lot of items to sell. Back at the CC for the second time today, I dropped off a sea urchin. Back at my farm, I sold all the items I picked up at the beach and the melons. I spent some time fishing and then stopped by Willie's shop, where I purchased a fiberglass rod, and yes, I tried it out. When you get a new toy, you have to play with it. I fished and fished and fished until I was so tired I felt like I was going to fall over. Wouldn't you guess it? I went back to the CC for a third time today to drop off some fish I just caught. I crawled back home, dropped off the fish, and went to bed. My farming leveled up today, and I got to pick a perk. I chose tiller. My crops are now worth 10% more. Day 14 of summer, year 1. It's raining again today. That means I get a water in the crops. I got some mail today from Pam asking for some pale ale. What do I look like? A liquor store? My blueberries, hops, and some radishes were ready to be sold. I petted the chickens and picked up their eggs. Yes, I fed them too. I also pulled out 10 pieces of hay for the CC that it took right over to drop off. I also dropped off a large egg and a blueberry. I stopped off at the store to get some radish seeds. I placed down a sprinkler I got from doing one of the bundles and planted the seeds I bought. Today, it was a mining day. That means time lapse. made it down to level 50 and got myself some Tundra boots. After a long day in the mines, I went home and put some items in the box for Creeper Lewis and went to bed. My mining is now level 4. Day 15 of summer, year 1. I tried to sleep in, really. I really did, but the rooster woke me up at 6 a.m. I got a letter from Mom today saying the country life is good for me. I watered my crops as well as picked up my hot peppers and hops. I took the eggs from Nugget and Barney. I cleaned up the yard this morning. I stopped off at Clint's to upgrade my copper axe to a steel one. I made 3 tappers, one for each kind of tree, so I can get one of each kind of sap. I put one on each kind of tree and tried to get the needed items for the CC. After that, I picked the mushrooms in the cave behind my farm and then sold them, all but the purple one. I took that over to the CC. I wandered over to the beach to get a few shells to sell and did some fishing off the pier. I found an oyster while picking up the shells that I took to the CC. Back home, I stuffed a few items into the box and went to bed. Oh yeah, baby, my fishing leveled up. Day 16 of summer, year 1. Sun burning my eyes at 6 a.m., so I might as well get up. A few of my crops are ready today, after I watered the ones my sprinkler didn't. I picked up the eggs the chickens left laying on the ground. The mushrooms were ready again today in the cave. I sold the items in my backpack, and off I went to the CC to drop off an aquamarina. I also dropped off a morel I found this morning in the cave. I did some fishing today off the pier and south of the town. I also did some fishing in the mountain pond, up by the mine. I did a lot of fishing here. So much that I wasted my whole day doing this. Stopped off on the way home at the CC to drop off a few fish I caught. Gave Creeper Lewis some stuff to go through, and laid my head on my soft pillow. Day 17 of summer. Started my morning off right with some rain. Willie sent me a letter letting me know he has new rods in. I petted the chickens and took their eggs. I picked up my steel axe from Clint, so shiny. I stopped by Willie's to check out the new rods. I almost bought one. Almost. I got a crab pot instead, and I can start doing more for the CC. I put it beside Willie's shop. With my new shiny axe, I was able to open up a new area in the forest. I fished there for a bit. It was nice, peaceful. I took a pit stop at home to offload my backpack before going back to the hidden woods to fish some more. After my day of fishing, I went over to the CC to drop off a catfish I had. Time for bed. Day 18 of summer, year 1. It's 6 a.m. again, and time to do my chores. I picked up my ready crops and watered the remainder. I tossed what I didn't want in the box and built myself a second chest. I chopped down a few trees, then collected the eggs from the chickens. I went over to the general store to pick up some more seeds. I went back home and planted them right away. And yes, I watered them. I did some more cleaning on the farm today. I went to bed early today, and my farming leveled up. Day 19 of summer, year 1. I woke up after a really long sleep. I harvested the crops and watered them. I checked the cave and found that the mushrooms were ready to be picked. I dropped off a few crops into the selling box. I then stopped off at the chicken coop to stag me some more eggs. I went over to the CC and dropped off a corn crop. Well, off to the mine I go. I wonder how deep I'll get today. love the smell of fresh air after a good mining session. Dropped a few more things off for Lewis to go through, and off to bed. My combat went up to level 3. Day 20 of summer, year 1. I jumped out of bed at 6 a.m. and went right to work. Harvested the crops and watered them. Dimitri sent me a letter saying he wanted a fresh melon. Well, he's not getting one from me this year. Sold my crops and checked on my chickens. P.S. I stole their eggs. At the store, I picked up some more seeds. I went over to the CC after that to drop off a solar essence. I stopped by the cowboy to give a dwarf scroll to the museum. I swung by the beach to pick up shells to sell. I went back to the CC to drop off a mussel. I went back to home to plant my seeds. Whew. It was already late in the day, so I cleaned the farm up a bit more. After that, I went to bed. Day 21 of summer, year 1. It's sure sunny at 6 a.m. this morning. Note to self, buy some blinds. By the way, I don't know if I said this, but you can learn things to cook by watching the TV. Harvest the crops and water them. Sold the crops and grabbed me some eggs from the chickens. I sold them. It's another mining day. That means it's time-lapse time. At level 60, I got a crystal dagger. I kept going, but only made it one more level before calling it a night. I stopped off at the CC to drop off a frozen tear. Back home, I sold what I didn't want and went to bed. Day 22 of summer, year 1. It's 6 a.m. and I forgot to pick blinds up for the windows. Harvested my crops like I do every morning and watered them. I wonder if the chickens know at this point it's me taking their eggs, or maybe they want me to take their eggs. Sold the crops and eggs, woke up in a geode at Clint's place and dropped off my hoe to upgrade it to a steel one. Gave a few things to the cowboy. He has a good collection going on now. I only found one shell at the beach today. Bummer. The one shell I found I put in the CC, so I guess it wasn't a total loss. I found out you can put bait into the crab pot. Now I should catch something. I spent a lot of time fishing today, in the river by the town. I went back home after fishing and sold what I found. I used the rest of my energy to clean up around my farm. 2 of my trees produced pine tar and oak resin, which I took to the CC right away. Back home, I went right to Dream World. Day 23 of summer, year 1. Up nice and early, and I noticed right away that it was raining. No crop watering today. Heck yeah! I picked the ones that were ready and sold them. I got trash out of my crab pot. Woohoo! It's time. Na 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 na. Mining time. I traveled down to level 69 today. Not a bad run. Back home, I sold what I didn't want and went to sleep.